I'm Tracy Nuttall. Thanks for the opportunity to be here tonight. I love connecting with women, and I have just a special place in my heart for Latter-day Saint women. You'll probably learn a little bit about that as I talk about my career path. I love the theme of the conference because it's so realistic, and I would just say in my life I have had no flat stretches at all. It's been all peaks, valleys, twists, and turns the whole time. So that's why it's kind of crazy. I'm going to do my best to tell you a little bit about it, talk fast. So I was a philosophy major at BYU. And the funny thing is that I had a really good feeling when I declared my major, maybe the first real spiritual feeling I'd had about like a direction in my life. And that has just proved to be true, but at the time I had no idea what I would do with it. And lots of philosophy majors go to law school, and I said, I will never go to law school. It's so boring. That's for boring people. I'm cool, I guess. I don't know. So never say never, right? So I got married my last year of school, and I am ashamed to say that I just assumed we'd start having kids. And I'm ashamed not because that's a bad thing, but because I just didn't put any thought into it, and I just want to tell you all, be intentional about your family. That's a really important thing to do. You just want to know when you look back that you were really intentional about the choices that you made. I wish I had done that. So we moved to Oregon. My husband went to med school there, and I worked a couple of different jobs. And at one of my jobs, I was exposed to federal regulations, and I found them very interesting, which was like, oh, I like boring things. I didn't know. Turns out philosophy is boring to most people. So, and then when it became clear that we were having infertility problems, it like sort of wasn't a big stretch. It was kind of like, okay, I'm going to go to law school. So we moved to Utah for Mark's residency, and I ended up at BYU Law. And I was so grateful at that point that I'd had a few years working before I went back to school. I was just really immature, and I really needed the discipline, and I needed the time, and I needed to work, and that was a really, really good choice for me, even though I didn't really plan it that way. It was also really beneficial to watch my husband Mark go through med school and residency. I needed to see him do that and to see how he did that before I could do it, and it was really important to me. So there are different paths, and I just think the Lord really knows what you need, and he will just get you there in different ways. So that was really beneficial. So at law school, the two big things I did were law review because I love writing. I love technical writing, which also, again, is very boring. Cool to me, not to others. I took as many conflict resolution classes as I could, which were just, I was just like passionate about conflict resolution. My husband's like, I can't hear about mediation one more time. Like, it's not that cool, Tracy. And so I just wanted to mention that because I had some really good advice from my sister when I was young, and she just said, like, you know, follow all your passions and your interests, and as your career path goes along, things will kind of weave in, and you'll kind of find out where you need to go. And in my life, that has been really, really true. So don't be afraid to do what you enjoy. And I think in law school particularly, it's very tempting to do what everybody else is doing and to feel like there's one path to success. So don't be afraid to do what you are feeling like you really want to do. That's helped me too. Let's see. And then those two things, like the writing and the conflict resolution, and then I took this drafting class, and those three things basically got me my job at the Utah legislature. I didn't know it at the time, but they actually have a test to work there where you like write for an hour or something, and I like had to rewrite a statute, and I had done that in the drafting class, and so that like gave me a big thing. So just it'll all come together. It's very exciting. So I did get hired there later, and I just want to say one really quick law school blessing that we had, that my husband was like really, he's not like a miracles person, but he was like, this was really cool. So I came to BYU, and at that time there was this doctor at the BYU Health Center. I don't think he's there anymore, but he basically was giving students like really cheap fertility treatments, which was kind of cool because we like couldn't afford fertility treatments. So we did one IUI with him, and he charged us like $50. There's my $50 baby right there. So that was like a great law school blessing that we have. And this is my daughter Mira. I'm so proud of her, and I'll mention her again in a minute. So I just wanted to tell you that. So let's see. Let me check the time real quick. Let's see. So I had. Let's see. I need to skip a little bit. Okay, so I did have a baby in law school. I had her 2 weeks before finals in my second to last semester. So it was like a little bit crazy. Okay, like I'm not really sure. It's all kind of a blur. I don't really know what happened. So, but it happened and it was okay. And it happened because people in my law school class, I had seen them do it, and I had seen other women at BYU Law do it, and I thought I could do it. And I had people tell me, I don't think that's a good idea. And but it was okay. I had the support that I needed in the law school, and that was really cool. So I was like, I got through the end of the year and I did not apply for jobs. I was too tired. I think people understand moms. And so I was like, I'm just going to study for the bar. Studied for the bar, took the bar. I did pass it. That was a good thing. And then I was kind of like, oh my gosh, the economy for attorneys is so bad right now. And there's a new crop of law students just about ready to graduate the next year. I was like, I have to do something. I have to get my foot in the door. So I applied to this random job at UVU to teach business law. Didn't really think I'd get it. I got it. I taught business law for 2 semesters there, and it was a really interesting learning situation. And I really enjoyed the teaching part. The politics are always like weird and like higher ed, right? Or just me? It was just me. Okay. So then I actually did this little clerkship in the 2nd district that I didn't ever think I would do a clerkship, but my friend kind of recommended me, and I ended up doing that for a few months, and it was really cool. And I wish I could have stayed, but the economy was so bad. And at the time, I got a job offer from the legislature, who had turned me down a couple months before about a job, and then they came back and said they'd come back. So I was like, okay, I'll do it. And that was actually really kind of like my dream job. I really, really loved working there, and I'm still kind of sad that I left. But I worked there for 2 years full time, and I wish I could tell you all the stories about how I worked there full time and I quit, and then they wouldn't let me go part time, and so I just quit because I was having another baby, and then throughout it, they ended up giving me all this flex time, and it was like this great story. That's just in a nutshell. It was really cool. So I ended up working there for about 8 years, and then a couple of years ago, I just had this really strong feeling out of the blue that it was time to quit, and it was because of my kids. And so just listen to those. It's hard. It's still hard. I miss that job, but I know the things that have come into my life because of that decision are way more important than staying there and just doing whatever I wanted to do. So what has come from that is that now I have this little contract job with the State Board of Education in special ed. I love that, and I started my own little corporation for my little 5-hour-a-week job. So I'm my own employer. It's pretty fun. I named it and I set it up, so it was really cool. And then what I really wanted to do is I kind of was like, my husband has a good salary. I just think I kind of want to work for free now that I'm going to be home more. So I was really interested in Mormon Women for Ethical Government. I really liked what they were doing at the time, and I was just really inspired by Latter-day Saint women getting together to try to change the world. And so I told them I would draft their policies and procedures for them, which I did, and then I ended up kind of being one of the assistant executive directors there. I learned how to do some fundraising, so I'm just the last 2 years have been really uncomfortable for me. I'm not gonna lie. It's been a rough time because I've learned so many new things, but I've learned so many new things, so it's been really cool. And then I actually ended up transitioning to the board of Mormon Women for Ethical Government, and I've learned a lot of skills there. And I would actually really recommend trying to be on boards and commissions when you have the opportunity and when those come up, because those are actually where jobs come from, networking comes from. It's really, I wish I had heard more about that earlier in my life. It's pretty cool. So while I was at MWEG, I actually heard about Project Elect, and so I kind of moved over to Project Elect, but stayed on the MWEG board. And Project Elect is Women in Public Service, and our mission is to help more Latter-day Saint women get elected to public office. So this is just something that I was excited about MWEG, but there was something about Project Elect that I was just this is it. This is so cool. So it's okay to follow your passions and realize how they kind of develop, and you really can kind of narrow them down and hone them. So that was really exciting to me to realize there's all these cool things out there, and you can kind of get specific. So one thing I will mention about that is that there was a moment. So I'm new to nonprofits, okay, and I don't know what I'm doing in nonprofits. I'm not comfortable there, okay, and it's kind of the Wild West in some of the nonprofits I worked for. And so it's just uncomfortable, but for some reason the Lord really likes that, you know. So here I am. But what I learned, I'll just share one experience because I think this is just so applicable to all women, is that I had this experience where I was sitting down and I was like, I gotta do this Project Elect stuff. I was kind of nervous. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I just had this strong feeling like, if you don't do it, who else is doing it? No one else is out there doing this right now. And it is the only organization that is doing that for specifically for Latter-day Saint women right now. And it was like, who cares if you do it perfectly? No one else is doing it. Just do it. And so I really took that, and I hope you guys can take that into your lives too, to be like, it doesn't have to be perfect. Perfect was Satan's plan, remember? Like, we wanted like the messy, like that. We chose that, and we felt really strongly. And I think particularly as women, we were like, no, Satan. Like, that's why he hates us so much. But I digress. So, anyway, so I am probably done with my time. So I do have a few things that hopefully will come up in the questions, but I'm just excited to be here, and I hope, if you have questions for me, I hope you come talk to me, and I have lots of cards if you're interested in Project Elect, so talk to me later.